Hello, I am Centimus Prime, and here I will be showing you a small handful of little builds I've made using the parts from the LEGO Star Wars set number 75-363, the Mandalorian N1 Starfighter Microfighter. Now, first and foremost, we shall be starting off with our biggest build, then work our way down. So starting off, we do have this sort of barricade, like barrier sort of, like defense, like wall thing that I've made. Very nice. It's rather simplistic. I mean, you do get a little, like, pistol, like, plugged into the back of it. You do get, like, cannons, like, 3 big cannons, like, pointing forward. And you do have some, like, little, like, details and stuff off to the sides. You do have, like, these little extra, like, green pieces. And, of course, like a little, like, a little, like, scope. Get, like, a little scope windshield thing on the top of this cannon right here. It doesn't look all that impressive, but I do like how it turned out. I do think it turned out quite nicely. Up next, we do have my little build of Grogu's little hover pod, I believe it is. And this is actually the part of the build I actually started with, because, like, getting into this build, first and foremost, I wanted to build that hover pod thing for Grogu. That was, like, the first thing, that was, like, what got me started, like, building this. And I built it up pretty quickly. It was not really that hard. The, like, extra guns, jutting out the sides were a late addition, as well as the thrusters on the back. I'd like to imagine this as, like, the Mandalorian, like sprucing up, I imagine. For this, I imagine, like, the Mandalorian, like, sprucing up Grogu's, like, little pod, to give it a little bit more ammunition and upgrade it to make it go faster and have more ammunition, so that Grogu can, like, basically drive this thing and have it like a little, like, hover tank thing. That's very nice. I definitely like how this turned out. And this is, of course, where most of the Keytorange parts went. And after I finished building this, I built, like, a little, like, thing with these 2 parts, so I can plug it into the bottom like this, so that I can place it down and have it look like it's hovering at a certain height. And because of how these things are connected, these can hinge up and down, and of course they can still fire. Very interesting, like. And then there's Mandalorian, of which the only thing that's really different with him is the fact that he's wielding a spear. More specifically, I imagine this as the Beskar spear that he has indeed used in the show. I feel like this was... I really imagine like this being the... Yeah, can't talk right now. I do imagine this as the Beskar spear that he uses. Oh, just dropped it. I do enjoy that part. It does give the Mandalorian an extra accessory. Because I first started out with this, it turned out I didn't really need that many parts at all. So I just used the rest of the sets to build some other smaller things, like some side things like the barricade defense system and the Mandalorian's Beskar spear. But like I said, the main focus of this was really Grogu's little hover pod. And I do think it turned out really nicely. Of course, it has a place for him to sit down. Do enjoy that. And then we go to the next part. Moving on. So as far as spare leftover parts are concerned, this is what's left over. Not a whole lot this time around. I did manage to use most of the parts in the sets. Of course, the only things I wasn't able to actually use was, first of all, what's clearly the biggest part in the sets, which is this Speed Champions axle part thing. And of course a couple of the 5-1 axles and a couple of the key torns and the cheese lopes and the other one of these spike ends. But aside from that, I was able to integrate everything else as these 3 separate builds. And I do enjoy them. I had fun making them. The Grogu's hover pod, I do feel it's a little flawed because these can easily just fall off because it's just a one stud connection. But it does allow for a little bit of articulation in the turns. So I'm okay with it, and it's not a terribly loose connection. It's manageable. And I'm okay with that. Overall, I am totally fine with this. I did enjoy building it. And I will of course I will eventually show you how to build this. It's not really that difficult. But until then, I guess that'll be it. If you enjoyed these alternative builds, consider to like and subscribe, and maybe even comment if you want. And of course, I will be posting again sooner or later.